Now you have no oil in the converter. None in the converter. Now you got whatever stall speed you want. 10,000 if you want.
Welcome back to BarryTsGarage, and we have another episode of Ask Ed. Thank you for your questions. You just put them in the comments. People ask sometimes, so that's all you have to do. And Ed has, he shares his wisdom. And what do you got, Ed? You got opinions?
I have opinions, I don't know how much wisdom.
Okay. I think people would say you have some wisdom, actually.
I think I probably know something, maybe.
You've learned a few things.
Yeah.
One of these days, we're going to have to take a tour of all your trophies, and get all that figured out.
Now the memory comes in then, and that's probably not a good idea.
Oh. Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's see what we got today.
What are we doing today?
Coldozer says, I have seen V8 cars with superchargers that surge at idle. They hunt around like a Detroit diesel with the governor set wrong.
Right, okay.
Okay. Why do these supercharged engines want to surge? What's going on?
I think that's in there, just like that one sitting right back there. So at low speed, you got a lot of pressure. You're sitting there idling with 6 pounds of pressure or something.
Right.
And that's a big volume. So the intake valves are opening and closing, and the whole air circulation inside with some fuel, because you got a couple carburetors on top there, and that's sucking the carburetors and then not sucking the carburetor, one sucking back and forth. So now the carburetor rich and lean, and you can't really get it to idle. This one here, I haven't lowered this idle that much because I don't like that.
Yeah.
We have it sitting here probably idling at probably 13 or 1400. As smooth as ever.
And maybe some of the valves are closer to the center and some are further away. I mean, I don't know.
Not so much on a blower.
No,
it's
not
got one big hole in it.
Yeah, just giant hole.
Yeah, it's got a big hole in it.
Okay, good.
But it's pretty cool to see him do that. Sometimes the guy's trying to park his car somewhere. And if you don't have a big stall, there you are at the big stall speed.
Yeah.
And that thing's doing that, it's just creeping along real slow.
Yeah.
So it's not, and sometimes I see him in the gravel. It spins the wheel, it stops, spins the wheels and stops. That's not very good.
Right.
It's not kind of stupid. We're not going to say stupid, though.
Okay.
Each to his own.
Yeah, okay.
It impresses people.
We're talking about your crankshafts, and I think a lot of people worry that after you turn them, they're going to rust right away. You better cover them up in Cosmoline or something real fast. But maybe in Arizona, you don't have to follow the same rules.
I was just going to follow up with that.
Yeah.
Arizona, you don't have to worry about that. It only rains once a year.
Right?
So, and the moisture is down. Our moisture content is way down. We do spray them.
Okay.
And we get down when we spray them. Even if customers got to pick them up, we'll spray them with a WD-40 solution. And then put them in a plastic bag, tie them up and mark them. And then, of course, we mark them what the throw was. 10 or 20 or 30, mark that on the crankshaft so everybody knows. And we don't have any trouble with rust.
Yeah.
Even all the crankshafts we have down there in the building, we don't have any trouble with rust.
Yeah, and some of them have been there quite a few years.
Yeah, they've been there a few years, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. There you go. That's the answer. It depends on where you are.
It depends on where you're at. I think way back east or someplace up in Minnesota or someplace like that, high humidity, of course you need to cover them up with something.
Right. And even worse if you live right by the ocean.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty bad. Okay, thanks, Daryl. Okay, now we're going to get more technical. I sure don't know the answer to this question. It's from Lee, and he says, brake stall speed and flash stall are two different things. I have a 5,000 stall converter in my Camaro, and you can pull up to maybe 2,500-ish on the brakes, no trans brake. But if you nail it, the tach jumps to 5,000 to 5,500. So the 3,500 stall is probably correct. There can be misunderstandings about stall.
Yeah, right. Most people that we talk to and talk about stall, again, there's so many things on stall speed that you can, the more horsepower you got like he has, you can jump on a car and it won't even catch up. At the same time, with that stall speed he has, I don't know if he likes that or not. It sounds like to me he might have to need a shorter one. If he's got that much horsepower to where if he just sets it to idle, and if he's got that much throttle response, where it will pick up to, it goes to $5,000, well, I would want it to stop at about 3,500.
Okay.
And start spinning the wheels.
Yeah, get a hold of that.
Yeah, start spinning the wheels.
Yeah.
Headed for second gear. And most people just want to stall in town. Mm-hmm. And they want to set the stop sign and let it sit there, and without killing the engine every time.
Yeah.
So but the people that really know stall speed is him. Our race period. Even he was down here as a converter dump.
Okay.
You can do that if you want to. Dumps the converter oil out of the converter. Now you have no oil in the converter.
Okay, what is converter dump? Explain that. What do you
Dump
do?
the oil out of the converter. There's no oil in the converter.
So you take the oil out before?
Yes. No.
Okay, what?
It's got a switch on it.
Oh, a switch.
Oh yeah, it's got a switch on it and a pump, part of the pump, and you just bypass the converter. All the oil dumps in the pan. None of the converter. Now you got whatever stall speed you want, 10,000 if you want.
Okay.
And you're just sitting there and you rev it up. That's these big motors, 1,000 horsepower. You rev it up, and as you get ready to go, instead of doing some kind of tranny brake or something that works sometimes, or sometimes it don't, well, this thing just starts dumping oil back in gradually, as fast as it can. It's not gradually, but dumps oil back in, and the car just leaves smooth.
Huh.
Yes.
So is this used in drag racing?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm
I
asking.
was going to say, our flight signs here at Hughes Performance,
Yeah.
and they make them and they sell them, yeah.
Okay.
And some of those things they make, Hughes Transmissions wins a lot of races.
Yeah, they do. Okay, so I just want to keep understanding this.
That's
When it's pumping back in, how long would it take to refill it?
half a second.
Okay. Pretty
Big
quick.
pipes, not just little ones.
okay.
It's big pipes, yeah. It's a dump valve is what it's
A
called.
dump valve. So
Yeah.
you say filling as fast as you can. It's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick, yeah.
Okay.
By that time, the drive shaft's connected, everything else is tightened up. The brakes and start to turn the rear wheels and turn axles, turn the rear wheels, and the tires haven't turned yet. So now the tires are squatted down,
Yeah.
flatten the tires out till it got some traction,
Yeah.
and the thing's full and you're gone.
Okay.
Smooth.
But that first half a second gives everything a chance to get on.
That's
going.
right. Like a big rubber band, straighten out a big rubber band.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was instant, everything would break loose.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like a tranny brake.
Yeah. Okay.
Tranny brake's pretty hard on stuff sometimes.
Okay.
It locks it in reverse and low at the same time.
Well, that's how it works.
Yes. So the drive shaft is limp, the gears are limp, the tires and wheels, there's no wound up. They haven't got their tires wound up yet.
Okay.
In the grooves, in the wrinkles. Mm-hmm. You let that go. Now the drive shaft has to start to turn. There's a big shock on the whole rear end assembly.
I see.
And it shocks the tires and do a big old wheel stand, and off you go, yeah.
Okay. So if you're racing and nowadays you don't prefer the trans brake, do you?
No, depends on what you can afford.
Oh.
A lot of the money comes in.
Okay, let's talk. Okay. Well, give me an idea.
No, our cars would be a smaller car than that,
Okay.
and we just run a converter with a stall speed.
Okay, that's fine.
Our junior fuel car is just a stall speed
Yeah. Okay.
converter.
Okay. So it's
And
the
we
big
can get
money.
it high enough that it leaves, and it'll go a little over 10 grand. So it's plenty enough to catch up the converter stuff. So
Okay.
it seems to run. Well, we're I think 3 or 4 tenths under the record right now. So
Yeah.
that's all you need. You don't need any more.
So this dump valve idea is definitely for the really big dollar.
Yes, really the big Camaros and Ford products and stuff like this with the high stall speed. And even though the question was back to things saying that if he nails his car, he's got a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
And if he had a 327 Chevy, it wouldn't do that.
Right. Right.
So the more horsepower you got, the more it's going to stall.
Okay.
And we keep saying that before.
Yeah, we have.
Every time you change the motor, bigger motor, a different torque converter.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
To keep everything in line, yeah.
Yeah, I got
That's
you.
a good question.
It is a good question. Thank you, Lee.
Hey guys, just a quick heads up. We now have a home for Barry T's Garage, and it's BarryTsGarage.com. One spot where you can go to watch our videos. You can sign up for a newsletter and get kind of updates or previews on what's coming up on the next series or the next thing. Also, we finally have a proper merch store for Father's Day, just in time. So we're looking forward to having that. I'm going to have samples very soon. They're on the way. In the meantime, you can check that out. Thanks so much for all your support, everybody.
Gary says, ask Ed about Zyglo inspection for aluminum parts.
We never did that. We don't have anything like that. You usually see it's got a crack in an aluminum part. It's usually, if it's got a crack in it, it's probably broken in half.
Okay. They don't tend to just hold a small crack.
They don't have a small crack unless you blew a hole through the side of it, side of the motor, and you want to weld it all up and magnaflux it, make sure you got all the little cracks healed up. That would be one of the things to do it. Or an intake manifold, see if it's cracked or not. That would be a good idea.
I don't know what position
I don't know that much about it, so you can't ask me too many questions about that, but I do. Common sense, there's some common sense there.
Well, I'll tell you something I noticed when I was editing one of these videos. You had said something that you didn't know, but you said common sense would say something. And later on, I was able to go online and check it out. You know, I had time. You were just answering a question blind.
Yeah.
But it turns out you were right. So common sense wins again.
Okay, good. I hate to be wrong too many times.
Yeah, well.
That wouldn't be very funny.
No, it wouldn't be as funny. We're back to voting on the worst GM transmission. We've got another vote.
Oh, okay.
I love how everybody has their own opinions, right? Which is great. It's a part of the fun. He says, no, sir. For me, the 82 to 84.5 700R4 was the worst. Even the Powerglide was bad until the racers improved it. And Ford's worst one was the AOD. So you have comments on any of that?
Well, 700R4 is tricky.
Oh, tricky.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so sensitive sometimes, and then each one to its own. And it's hard to get two to shift the same.
Really?
Yes, it is.
So they're that fussy, huh?
I have a little problem, and I built this transmission on this red car sitting right here,
okay,
the 36. And I've asked other transmission people, and I thought most of the rebuilders here would know exactly what they're talking about and know what they're talking about. This car freewheels.
Really?
Yes, if I take off in first gear, into second gear, shifts nice and firm into second gear.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I get going, and then if the light changes, I allow it with gas, it'll just coast.
No engine braking?
No engine, no. I just coast a block or so up to the red light.
Wow.
It's in gear. If I gas it, it's in gear. We're freewheels. If I left a ball out somewhere and got the wrong one, or someone, when you put the valve by in, a ball would fall out. You got so many balls in this thing, or something else. And nobody can tell me why it does that.
Huh.
But going down the road, it shifts good into second gear, nice and third, and into fourth about 55 miles an hour.
Okay.
And it goes right over to 70 or 75 miles an hour, easy.
Yeah.
But just coasting that, but
so
I don't have to brake that much.
Yeah.
And I come to the stop sign, and the way I drive it too, I like to shift. So sometimes I come to the stop sign and put it in neutral. I'll set there in neutral, and light changes, I put it in gear, off it go again.
Yeah.
But each to his own, but 700Rs are really, and the cable has got something to do with it, and you got the springs in the governor, and all kinds of things in there, and what you do to the valve body. I like to drill the holes, the second and third hole, a little bigger, so it shifts a little firmer and more positive stuff. So each one, again, like he said, the 700R is a tricky transmission, and it's hard to get the two to shift the same.
And we've talked about the Powerglide. Apparently, it wasn't really loved until the racers figured out how to take advantage of it.
No, it was a two-speed.
Yeah.
You know, it would block down the street, a whole block in low gear.
Yeah.
Then went into high gear, same one. Some of our dirt track cars used it for a while. I think we have, two of my friends have them in their cars, dirt track cars.
I think I heard someone call it a power slide.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay.
And of course, their taxi cabs, even originally, had a little bigger hub so you could put another clutch in the high gear.
Okay.
I don't know, we used to do that way back a long time. I bought this Powerglide taxi cab hub.
What would that give you? What would happen?
Oh, just to last longer.
Okay.
Yeah. There was never a band problem, I don't think. The band was on those Powerglides that the hole to return the oil off from the band was too small. So that's why I tried to shift, and the band wouldn't release.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't release very fast. So you want to release this. I get rid of get it out of low gear so it can go into high.
Yeah.
And the band wouldn't release very much. So you drill the hole out.
I see.
exhaust hole. Yeah, a few things like that.
Okay, that's pretty
Not bad.
cool.
Yeah.
One of our friends says, is it true that a tiny amount of new clean power steering fluid or some other type of oil helps keep the thermostats more operational for daily drivers? Or
Keeps what
the
more?
thermostat. So you're putting a little bit of power steering fluid in your cooling system.
Oh, in the water.
Yeah.
Well, we always encourage that. I think, I don't know if any of those people that has lubrication in the water. Mm-hmm. We used to have that absorbent oil we used to put in the water and turn it to a white milk. Mm-hmm. And it was a lubrication. It was a water pump lube.
Okay.
I have no idea why they don't have that anymore.
I always think that
I don't
there's...
see it. I don't see it. I don't remember it being in the stores. They might have it, but it's always a good idea.
Am I just being optimistic that there's maybe some lubrication in the...
I don't know, in the antifreeze.
Normal coolant?
But I
Yeah.
doubt it.
Okay.
They took half the antifreeze out and added some water. Thank you for stirring up my antifreeze. Charged me the same thing for a half diluted water.
Right.
I like that, yeah.
But always use distilled water if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Next question is, do you think there's an optimum operating temperature for different kinds of engines? Would that change from one type of engine to another?
I think it would, yeah.
I think one time you mentioned Flatheads might like to be cooler.
Well, they like to be cool because you don't want it. Dangerous to have them hot.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily they like it or not. The owner likes it. He wants it to live.
It's less expensive to run them cooler.
Yeah, a little expensive. Let that thing get hot. It's going to crack everywhere. It already has enough cracks in it. Without adding some more, I'm going to get it hot.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It's like it's a shame that we have so many of those flathead motors that are cracked so many different places.
Okay, here's a question from Tom, and he admits he's not that savvy about engine building, and that's okay. We have people
we
that
don't
are
care.
new.
Yeah.
That's fine. He said, can you get a GM 400 crank and fit it into a 350 block? And how big a cam can I put in there? And can you put a 454 crank in a 400 block? So he's trying to get bigger crankshafts going.
He's not going to try to put a big block crank in a small block
Right.
because that don't work
And
at all.
that's where we have to watch out, because there was a big block 400 and a small block 400.
Yes.
So we got to be careful how we talk about that.
Yeah, right.
But what about putting a 454 crank in a big block 400?
That would be a 396 30 over.
30 over 396.
Yes.
Okay.
And the crank won't go in there.
It won't go in.
No, it hits the cylinder walls.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
It's the bottom of the sleeves
Uh-huh.
and the side of the mix. Yeah.
Okay. So you can't do that. Well, but it's fun to think about it.
There's even 427, a 427 motor, and you put a 454 in. 454's got indentations in the block where the connecting rod misses the block on a 454.
Okay.
So you can stick your hand in a 454 around the bottom of the pan gasket and just feel the bottom of the skirt on the piston. It's got a little groove in it there. Tell right away if it's 454 or not.
Interesting. Sure. Okay. Okay, so here someone needs a little bit of help with their tuning. It's usually nice that if you're tuning an engine to have it in front of you, but we're going to try to do it with a question. William says, I need help with why my 289 Ford Tri-Power engine, it just won't rev up. It just won't rev. What kind of problem could that be?
It's got to be the camshaft. Either you would advance the camshaft, that would be interesting. If the camshaft's retarded, it'd go 120 miles an hour and not spin the wheel. Mm-hmm. But now if the cam's advanced, it spin the wheel but only run 90 miles an hour.
Okay. So you're giving up one to get the other?
Yes, one to get the other.
Okay, okay.
And it sounds like he's got tri-powers. He's put that tri-power on there from something. You'd have to know a little bit more about it. Is it won't RPMs with the carburetors all open?
Right.
Like wide open and all three carburetors are open? Then it just won't go anywhere?
Because there's so many things. You could have linkage problems or carburetor problems, I guess.
They're either open or they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's airflow. And usually two barrels, I don't know, I hope he has smaller two barrels, 350s,
Yeah.
instead of a 3 500s, like a 340 Dodge or a 440 six-pack Chrysler 440 with three carburetors. And they can handle that carburetor. But if you've got too big of carburetors on it, It's not good. It's just going to suck air and not go anywhere.
Yeah, and the 289 is not that big an engine.
It's not that big engine, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Really small ports. So you have to have small carburetors on it to get to run.
I hope that
hook
helps.
the two end ones to see if it would run.
Disconnected two end ones?
Just connect the two end ones, run on a two barrel,
Yeah.
and see if it'll wind up then. And I'll tell you where you're at. That would tell you if the motor's capable of RPMs.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would separate the mechanical possibility
Yes.
from a tuning possibility.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely, yeah.
Winton says, I have heard rumors that some NASCAR engine builders, they like to circulate 180-degree water, there we go again with the 180-degree water,
Yeah.
through the block under the deck plate when they're doing their final honing.
They can do that, sure.
Yeah?
You never know, because they won't let you in the machine shop. You can't even get on the shipping deck, or you hardly get in the front door.
Right.
They're not going to tell you that, what they're doing. But they can run it, absolutely want to heat that motor up if they're doing that. And I'm not sure. Again, I used to have a friend from Grand Rapids, Michigan, an old man. Mm-hmm. And when he came to town to the NASCAR, he'd come visit me a couple hours every day if he's here in town to the NASCAR show. Of course, he knew all that stuff. They were all friends. They could trust him. And he was telling me about the shivving the wrist pins and how close they call the rod bearing, main bearing, how close to things like that. Anyways, I would doubt they would warm that motor up. And the only way you'll warm it up, you don't warm it up with a torch.
No.
You warm it up with hot water.
Yeah. So it
And
takes special
the
machine.
home plate. Yeah, you want it to be as accurate as you can during the race. Why not?
Right.
And they'll do anything. They'll spend any kind of money. There's no limit on money.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say they did that.
Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just makes sense. Heat that motor up to 180 with hot water, and then do your honing or any kind of machine shop. Honing special,
Yeah.
and doing the deck too.
So I guess the advantage of that is you're doing the specs to the temperature when it's going to work,
That's right. Yeah.
kind of thing.
Of course. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't want to get ready to do a marathon in the wintertime when you've been practicing in the summertime.
There you go. That's perfect. That's a great analogy there, Ed.
Yeah, NASCAR, I think, is, while we just talking about that, I think NASCAR is probably the most precise motor, anyway, because you don't have a backup. You don't have two ignition systems. You don't have this. You don't have that. In Indianapolis, too. Those motors are something else. You don't have a backup of this, that. So if it fails, you just flick a switch and you're on, keep going. You got a one-time thing for 500 miles.
Everything has to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect or better.
Right. Okay, so Greg is asking, if you don't mind, when you can make a collection of tools that you have made to accomplish certain things.
I have that rod. It's my favorite, I guess. They never use it again. A little quarter-inch rod with flat spots on it, and you take the horn ring off of a Dodge car, like a 55 Dodge.
Okay.
Take the chrome horn ring off and stick it down the shaft. The steering shaft is hollow. And you take a little crescent wrench on the end of this quarter-inch rod and adjust it down there and make it turn so it goes this way or that way.
Really?
Yeah. It's a black rod about this long, quarter-inch.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that
Well,
one.
now nobody would know unless they adjusted the steering on a 55 Dodge power steering.
Not too many people around doing that.
Well,
You got
I
it.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we just
So just things like that would never do again.
right.
There's a few once in a lifetime things you do.
Yeah.
You never do them again.
Now, are there
So
occasions?
that's not just the power steering is not too dangerous.
No.
Okay.
So, but I guess there are occasions where to solve a problem, even if it's never going to happen again, you still have to make a tool to fix
Yes.
it. The next question from Bernice says, do you have any ideas on how to keep tires from dry rotting, or at least slowing down the dry rotting?
This yellow car right behind me is a 1963.
Okay.
A friend of mine built it in 61 or 2. Something like that. I've had it since 1970.
Wow.
In 62 or 63, it's got the original tires on it, on the rear.
Wow.
The rear tires are the original.
Wow.
They're hard, but they're not dry rotted, they're not cracked.
Huh.
I think they're so hard, I don't know how to get them off there and set them afire, I guess. But I don't think there's any air in them.
They don't need air, they're so hard.
No. But that's how old they are. They haven't sat here in the shop. They've been inside their whole life. So that's kind of interesting if you want to know by just ozone or what's caused them to come apart.
Yeah.
Or is it just the sunshine?
So Warren made a comment on a video you made where you fix up a good setup for them, and they go and they're happy.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, they want more power, and they come back and say, I want a bigger engine, I want a bigger this, bigger that. And so Warren's example of where this might end is and then they want their 440 to turn into a 511 stroker with 2 turbochargers.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's no end, is there?
There's no end as long as you don't run out of money.
There you go.
We got a dear friend here sitting here the other day. I think we sold him another motor. We sold him he had a 69 Camaro, orange one. And on the west side of Phoenix, everybody knew who that car was.
Yeah.
It was awesome, a perfect car. We sold him a 383, and he just loved it. Mm-hmm. And he was smart enough, he jetted the carburetor himself.
Okay.
He had a big carburetor, he jetted it, and it just kept going faster and faster. Then he took it out and put a 5-speed in it.
Okay.
He ran that, it was faster and faster, and put bigger headers on it, exhaust. The car is gorgeous. I mean, it's kind of an orange 69 Camaro.
Yeah.
And then then he had to change the rear end.
Okay.
Put a little wider rim on the back, but I think he had rally wheels on, no mag wheels or anything.
Okay.
So that wasn't too long. They took that motor out and put an LS motor in it.
Okay.
I think he took that one out and put a bigger one.
Yeah.
And they sold the car.
Okay.
And somebody went in Scottsdale, they wanted it worse than he did and paid him a lot of money for the car.
You're addicted to going faster and faster.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And now he has an old truck now, and I think he's going to change the motor in the truck. I think we're building another motor.
Okay.
And he's about 65 years old.
Okay. He's having
Not
fun.
a young kid, yeah.
And then somebody's going to end up with this car at some point, and they're going to say, I want to take it back to Ed, and I want this back stock again. We'll start over.
I hope not. Because he hasn't changed the car itself.
Okay.
So he really hasn't destroyed the car.
Okay. I really like that when people don't cut everything up and change everything and just kind of...
And put fancy 18-inch wheels on it and things like this,
So Bill wants to talk about the 429 and 460 Ford, the 385 series, and that's the 429, 460, is a kind of a big block Chevy copy with a tiny exhaust. What do you think about that?
It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. It was just like you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and it depends on what you're using it for.
Okay. Yeah.
And they used to call them a little bit stump puller, pull the tree out of the ground or something like this.
Yeah.
And at low RPMs, it had a lot of horsepower. In the 460 truck, it bumped the camshaft up. Like I say, we've talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And that made a nice motor for a nice truck.
Okay, so John wants to know, can you explain the internal workings of the Clutchflite transmission?
Clutchflite?
Yeah, do you remember those?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, how do they work?
What's an automatic transmission?
Okay, so what
And then
makes...
you got to change the front shaft
Okay.
instead of doing it into a torque converter, because that just front shaft has to turn. Then you put a longer shaft on it, which has got a clutch on the front. 3-finger web thing, a tin plate that goes back in and runs the front pump.
Okay.
Because you have to have something to run the pump. And it has a little collar with a slot in it. And you slide this over the shaft.
Yeah.
It seals on the front seal so the oil don't come out.
Okay.
And it runs the front pump. And it goes in the clutch, in the fork of the clutch.
Okay.
So you push the clutch in and out with the throw bearing. Then the car don't go anywhere because you got the clutch in it. Then you let out in the clutch, speed it what you want to. Talk about stall speed. Wind at 6,000. Let the clutch up, and you just shift it manually.
Okay, but it's still an automatic transmission.
It's still
though.
automatic, yeah.
Huh.
It's the same automatic. The first one I had in that red car,
Yeah.
and and that was before B&M made it. We had a little thing, and I think that's still a steel thing that held the throw-it bearing. And it had a little seal back there so the oil didn't come out. There's really no pressure, very little pressure around the front pump
Okay.
and the torque converter.
Okay.
The oil's in the converter, so that's gone.
Yeah.
and then this little sleeve thing that fit on there, and we cut a hole in the side of the Dodge transmission, aluminum transmission, and the fork stuck out.
Oh, okay.
And you can buy an adapter. I was just seeing that adapter's hanging on a wall somewhere here. A little skinny adapter, put a Chevy, the Dodge transmission behind a Chevrolet, and you're all done.
Wow.
Well, we didn't have a scatter shield, and I had almost a stock clutch. And I was racing it then, and that's when I done the little wheel stands, nice. And when I took off from first gear, I hit second gear, blew the whole clutch out of it.
Oh.
The pressure plate.
Yeah.
So I went out through the door and out through the hood. And
Oh, wow.
went everywhere. I didn't get hurt.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll bet it made some noise too.
It didn't. I didn't hear a thing. I was driving it.
Really?
I didn't hear a thing. Just the car in first gear is throwing you back in the seat,
Yep.
you know, because it's going fast. The car went 990s. And then I had an injected small block Chevy in it. And then when I hit second gear, the car just fell dead. It just coasted down the track. So I coasted off the side. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
I fixed it back up again.
Yeah. Okay.
Put it back in again. I put a scatter shield in this time. So, yeah. And there's another one here in town that, the Cluff boys over in Tempe, they put a Ford transmission, automatic, behind a Chevrolet
Okay.
motor, because you could put a taxi cab, Chevy motor in a taxi cab, it had a Ford transmission.
Is that right?
Yes. So they put a Ford transmission, a cast iron, like a Ford-O-Matic,
Oh.
and they put some hoses in the front, tapped it and put hoses, and ran the two hoses up to a power steering pump.
Well,
And they didn't have a front pump in the transmission.
Oh, it didn't. So it let the power steering pump do it.
Yes. So as soon as you start the motor up, you got pressure. You let the clutch out, and if you want to shift it, you just shift it.
Huh. Wow.
That was a Ford clutch. Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't too long ago, 61 or 2. That was one of the first ones that we knew.
Bernard is saying, I had the original large harmonic balancer on my Hypo 327. It cracked. So I put a smaller one on. So now it runs cooler. I've never touched the timing or anything else. So if you put a smaller harmonic balancer, why would it run cooler? Can you explain what happened there? Do you have any idea?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Nothing to do with anything unless he changed the front pulley. Mm-hmm. He might have changed that pulley to a smaller pulley, and that run the water pump faster or slower.
That's a good idea, right?
The balancer, right there's one. There's a motor sitting there. If you want to
Yeah.
take a picture of it,
Yeah.
it's sitting on in. It's the biggest balancer they ever put on a Chevrolet.
On a small block.
Small block, yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing to do is if he changed it and didn't, maybe his pulley was bad and changed it to, he didn't know he changed it, the size.
Yeah. That could be why.
But that'd be the only thing, that the balancer wouldn't have anything to do with it.
I know you told me that engine is for your Corvette. It's a
Corvette,
327.
Yeah.
And we talked about your mechanical fuel injection that you
Yeah.
have. People are asking, would you please have Ed show us around that Rochester system and how it works?
It's not a fuel injection, it sprays. So it's kind of a strange vehicle.
The research I did, a lot of people didn't like them back in the day.
Well, they didn't know anything about them, and I'm sure they didn't like them either.
Okay.
If you don't know something, if you don't know anything about it, and again, they've had some different ones. Like we said, I seen that one up there the other day, and they made 3 of them supposedly
Yeah.
with 2 injectors on it.
Okay.
They actually cast them out what Chevrolet did.
Okay.
And a friend of ours, Sappington and Sanders S&S headers here, took the top off and closed it and put 2 injectors on that at an angle.
Uh-huh.
They ran a stock class,
Really?
yes, and a Nova, a little 66 Nova.
Okay.
And I think it won lots of races with that because the other guy said, you run 2 4-barrels of Corvette. Well, I can run 2 of these injectors, air nozzles, on my Nova, all Chevrolet parts.
Yeah.
So somehow in those days, NHRA, I don't know, they just wanted to race. It was not too picky.
As long as they got something different going on.
Something different going on, yeah.
Right. That's pretty good.
Kind of funny, yeah. I think that half the time we look back at it. So right now they're picky.
Oh, okay.
I say they're picky because they know more,
Yeah, sure.
because they're smarter.
Yeah.
You have to be smarter than the guy the guy you're trying to beat or something.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good example. A good example. Well, thank you for taking the time to answer some more
that's
questions. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And thank you
Brings
for
up memories a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's kind of fun memories of drag races, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
good.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. If you came all the way to the very end, you get an extra prize. Thank you so much for doing that, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.